bad from my head.
Okay.
All right, so our audio was bad. So now we got to redo this all over again 1 week later. I didn't even look up any new news. And we also decided to change the name of the podcast to the Bonsai Movie Crew. Right? Yeah, okay. The Bonsai Movie Crew. I like that. It was going to be... what was it? What did we have before?
It was Bonsai's Nerd Spew movie review.
Yeah. And Nerd Spew was already taken, so I don't want to get anybody confused.
We're not those people.
We're not those people. Hold on, I need to move this closer. Hold it. I think I just unrecorded it. Oh, no. It's working. I've got to watch what I'm doing. I don't want to push any buttons.
Don't mess this up.
Don't touch any of this stuff. See, we can watch it now. As long as that record button is red, we're good. So anyway.
Red usually means bad.
Not in this case.
Okay, good. All right.
Red is good, like blood.
Okay, Dracula. All y'all want those shark movies is like Shark Dracula. Yeah, I think Jeremiah will really enjoy it.
Okay, all right. So last week,
Didn't even put in my mind that you have to watch them with them.
Last week we did this already. We're gonna review the 1959 remake and the remake of House on Haunted Hill. So the original had Vincent Price, Carol Omart, and Richard Long in it. And the remake had apparently people I don't care about because I didn't write their fucking names down.
You didn't write them down last week either.
No, I didn't. Well, these are the same notes from last week.
Jeffrey Rush.
Oh, yeah, Jeffrey Rush.
Bridget
Wilson.
Allie Larder.
Tay Diggs. And Chris fucking retard Catan.
And the guy who played the doctor. I see his face.
Jeffrey Combs.
No, Jeffrey Combs. But the other guy who played, he was the psychiatrist.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember his fucking, I don't care.
Oh, and Famke Jensen, because she does
Famke
such
Jensen.
a great bitch face. And she's such
a bitch and everything.
She's such a
she's
such a great bitch.
She single-handedly turned Jean Grey into a bitch.
She's such a great bitch
So,
in everything
anyway,
she does.
So I'm going to I will give you a quick run over of some of the news we had from last week. We had, let's see, we talked about the, all right, unpause. Okay. So, back to the news. So, for this week, I'm going to give you some stuff coming from Bloody Disgusting.
Wait, Bloody Disgusting, is that like a horror news type thing?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah.
Okay.
Jeremiah likes it.
The Nun 2 set to release in theaters next Halloween. Nobody cares.
Nun 2 hasn't came out already?
Mm-hmm.
I could have swore Of course, there's been so many of those movies.
So, and like I said, if you haven't seen the new trailer, there's actually another new trailer. Actually, it's a featurette you can find it on YouTube. It's a character thing or whatever, featurette for Wednesday.
Oh, I just finished the trailer. So
if you want to watch it, honestly, I'm not going to get too deep. So, I don't know if you guys have watched X.
What's it called?
X. There's some new images from Pearl, which is a prequel to X. X is a movie set. It was done by Ty West.
I don't even think I've ever heard of it.
It's fairly new. It just came out earlier this year, I think.
Yeah.
It's a horror movie. It's a slasher. I'm honestly not going to get too much into the news this week because I didn't really dive too much into this stuff. But next week I'll have a whole slew of things for you.
We'll get better.
So yeah, we'll get better. This is all learning. We're all wet behind the ears right now. And
we're a little bit pissy about the first one.
Yeah, we're a little pissy about the first one. So because we had a bunch of news, we had a bunch of stuff, and we had a pretty good time recording the first episode, and then I went to listen to it, and we only had 40 minutes of good audio, which to some people is probably enough, but not whenever the first 15 minutes or so is news, and then so it's very disappointing. But So anyway, let's just go ahead and move on to House on Haunted Hill, and we will give you a plot synopsis of The House on Haunted Hill from 1959.
No one knows why he does the accents.
Huh?
No one knows why he does the accents. We're not sure.
Who?
You.
Me?
You.
Hey, come on now. Don't knock it.
Okay.
Let me see if I can find it here. House on Haunted Hill. Come on, you fuck. Oh, there it is. Alright, so a millionaire offers $10,000 to 5 people who agree to be locked in a large, spooky, rented house overnight with him and his wife. That's essentially what it is, too. And honestly,
That's a terrible synopsis.
that's what IMDb.
That sounds
That is
like...
what IMDb gave me. Let's go to the 1999 version. See, I'm trying to do my best Vincent Price. I don't know. I think I'm not doing it.
Stop.
You're not.
You're
Not at
doing a
all.
very bad Vincent
Fuck
Price.
you guys, man. A little positive reinforcement over here.
Joseph.
Good
Keep it
job.
up.
We don't want you to embarrass yourself. That's the thing.
I'm not, though.
No,
Okay.
if you embarrass yourself.
Even if people
I'm
laugh at me, I'm still not embarrassing
Okay.
myself. Okay, so
I'm
the
not easy to
1999
embarrass.
version reads as is. An amusement park mogul offers a group of diverse people $1 million, which is too fucking much, to spend the night in a haunted house with a horrific or horrifying past.
That depends on how you look at it. Is
Well,
it too much for him to give you the money, or too much for me to get the money? Because I don't think that's too much money.
I think it should have been more like $100,000 a person.
Maybe if I'm the one signing the check.
Yeah, exactly. Why did,
If I'm not the one signing the check, I want the $1 million.
I don't know. Maybe. I don't know. All I know is I'm tired of talking about this
I don't
goddamn
know.
these goddamn movies.
I think it's kind of cheap considering that most of them died.
No, he still had to fork out all that money.
But he doesn't care because he died.
I was gonna say he's dead too.
Spoiler alert.
Oh yeah. From here on out, we're gonna get a little spoiler. So
If you haven't
these-
seen a movie
Yeah.
from 1959 or 1999, there are spoilers ahead.
They are quite old, but spoilers. Be warned. So I'm gonna start out by. I guess we really didn't introduce ourselves. I'm Joseph.
Matt.
That's Matt, and then we also have
Karen.
Karen. Not your typical Karen. Our Karen. Not
Hey, she's a nice one.
She's a nice Karen. She won't come out throwing her fists in the air and acting like a crazy fucking wombat.
And she rarely yells at us.
I don't think I've ever yelled at any of you.
I was gonna say, I don't know. You might have at some point. We just don't remember.
Maybe, but
I don't
I
think
don't
I've
really
ever
yell
seen
at
I think
Karen
we're
yell
I
at
think we're
people.
at that age now where you're not gonna yell at us. You're just like, dude.
I'm at that age now that I really don't argue with anyone. If you tell me 2 + 2 is 7, that's fantastic. I'm gonna go on about my day.
Good for you. Progress.
Fantastic for you. I'm gonna move on with my
Our
day.
Karen is least like any Karen you've ever seen.
Yeah, right. Okay, so anyway, so the show will basically, like, I know this is our first episode again, and what you'll expect out of us is essentially what we're going to do is we're going to review a movie, and every week one of us will pick the movie. Next week, Matt will pick the movie. This week it was Karen's pick.
And they hated it.
I didn't hate it by any means. I've seen both of these movies.
I like the
before.
original. And I've never seen the original, so...
Okay.
See, I had seen both of them, and I knew what I was getting myself into. And I didn't mind. Honestly, I didn't mind going back to rewatch the remake because I knew before I even watched it that I knew it wasn't going to age well. So, because I hadn't seen it since it came out, and I'm like, this movie is not going to be good. Like whenever it came out, I was like, yeah, it was all right.
Well,
But now, 23 years later, I'm watching it, and I'm like, yeah, that didn't age well at all.
Well, see,
But anyway, hold on now. First, before we get into discussing the movie and all that,
I wasn't going to discuss the movie. I was just going to say I watched it again because I haven't seen it in years. And I didn't remember anything from it. Sometimes I feel like I have to say obvious things.
Okay, so what we're going to do here now is, from here on out, it's going to be spoilers. But I think, first off, we need to go around and we need to, would you recommend? Matt, would you recommend House on Haunted Hill 1959?
The 19th, yes, I would recommend it.
Would you recommend it to anybody, though, is the question.
No, I would recommend it to, I wouldn't recommend it to, youngins. But, more, our age and stuff, I would recommend it to. But, a 20 or 15-year-old, no. That's just, they're not going to get it. They're not going to
get into it. What about the 1999 version? Would you recommend?
I wouldn't recommend it to a squirrel. No squirrel deserves that.
Well, Karen, you're a squirrel. And
squirrel.
I think you just kicked her nuts.
Squirrel.
I would recommend it.
Watch anything.
To that one, that's the one I would recommend to if they want to get the story, because it is a good story, but that's the one to 15, 20-year-olds and stuff. But the older one is for the older crowd. It's just the age thing.
Okay.
It really just depends on how old they are.
Okay, Karen, what about you?
Honestly, I don't think I'd recommend either one of them to a lot of people, just because a lot of people, especially as I get older, just aren't into good movies. I'm serious.
Matt's over here, good movie though.
No, I'm talking about 1959.
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
there's a lot of pacing, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's not there's not a lot of things to hold your attention.
Right.
So it's not going to be for just about anybody.
Yeah.
If you're not somebody that can, it's going to hold your attention, you can't deal with pacing. You're not gonna be good for that movie.
I can understand it because it's kind of slow paced.
For the 1999 film, if you can't get past a lot of the things that apparently you two can't get past, then you're not gonna like it.
I'm not saying that it's a bad movie. I'm just saying that it's got a lot of flaws.
Sure, but it's 1999.
Right.
So
So would you recommend then 1999?
I like the 1999 movie, but a lot of what I liked about it is nostalgia related, and I liked the fact that they kept the original plot twists and turns.
Right.
And they changed the pacing up. They made it a little more fast paced, kept your attention much better.
I can see that.
And I loved that it had paranormal twists. I love paranormal.
See, that's love
paranormal horror movie.
Right,
Paranormal horror is my favorite genre.
See, that's the kind of thing that really kind of just destroyed the movie for me. It's you shouldn't just, okay, I understand fast pace and stuff, that's good, but I just didn't like don't put the paranormal stuff in.
Yeah.
That's what I didn't like.
The reason I like paranormal is because in a slasher film, I have a chance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I have a chance to run. I have a chance to hit. I have a chance to stab. I have a chance to shoot. I have a chance. He's flesh and blood. In a movie where somebody breaks into your house, or you name any other genre, I have a chance because they're probably flesh and blood. Paranormal, how do you fight that?
I agree.
See, that's scary as hell.
That's why I'm not so into the paranormal.
But it's hard to do. It's hard to do. Most paranormal comes off cheesy.
I think for my recommendations, I would have to say the 1959 version is it's a classic. It's a good movie. It's above all, it's got Vincent Price in it.
Mm-hmm.
It's worth watching just for him alone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Not his best movie, but it's still a good movie. I would say I would recommend that movie to horror movie buffs and just movie buffs in general, and especially for people who love older movies like that. It's a must watch.
Yeah.
For people who like casual viewers or people who just a lot of people aren't going to get into that.
That's what I
movie,
mean. Like the people that I would recommend it to, they've already seen it.
They've already seen it, exactly. So because it's one of those movies that honestly I think back then, whenever the remake came out, I don't think that a lot of people realized that it was in fact a remake.
Oh, when it first came out, when the 1990, I had no idea.
Right. So
Until
I did.
years
I
later.
did, but I'm a
right.
I
did.
Yeah.
I knew that it was a remake.
Yeah.
And then, but for the 1999 version, I would say the only people that are going to enjoy this movie are people who have a certain nostalgia for that time period, like for the 1999 through like 2010. genre of horror movies and things like that. Like, you know, those people who were into, I don't know, 13 Ghosts or fucking that sort of horror movie. Like, nowadays we would consider those B movies.
That's hilarious, though, because you bring up 13 Ghosts. It's the same production company. They're only the 2 movies that they did. They were both William Castle movies.
I think you told me that, didn't you?
Yeah.
Did you tell me that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because she
I
was
didn't know
talking
that.
about.
Well, they just have that same kind of cinematic.
That's exactly the
You know what I
reason.
mean?
That's exactly the
So-
reason. But yeah,
But like those movies back then, they were just they weren't the only 2 like that. I mean, look at The Faculty and things like that. They suffer from that 90s. Ugh. You know what I mean? It's kind of almost cringy, but
Truthfully, right now it is kind of hard to judge movies.
you could make the same
No.
argument for the original Scream, though.
yeah, exactly. The thing about Scream though is it set certain guidelines for horror movies from there on. So whereas this movie didn't break down any boundaries or anything like that. Now, if I had to recommend it, I would say to some people, depending on the personality, yeah, go ahead and watch this movie. But for most others, I'd be like, no, don't waste your time because you're not going to enjoy it. But for me, if I had to recommend it to myself, I would not recommend it to myself. I would not want to watch this movie, just for the sheer fact. Other than some of the actors in it, like I'm a huge fan of like Joffrey Rush. Obviously, was his name
Jeffrey Combs.
Jeffrey Combs. Ali Larder, I loved her in a bunch of stuff. And if you're into like those older late 90s, early 2000s movies, you got what's her name? The girl who's in Billy Madison.
Bridget Wilson.
Bridget Wilson, yeah. So she was also in Mortal Kombat as Sonya Blade, which
You know, when it said her name, that one was the only one that I was like, I know that name.
yeah. But like other than that, I mean, I can't say I'd recommend it to a lot of people, but I will say that if they remade it today, the best people, and I don't know if I said this before, the best people that would be best for directing this movie are the same guys that directed Ready or Not.
You did say that.
And I would take away the supernatural stuff, but if they would because they would take that story and just amplify it. Like, look at what they did with Ready or Not. It's not a remake, by
I don't think I've seen Ready.
You should.
You should. It's a great movie. They also did. They're the same guys that did the new Scream movie, which was so-so. But
Wait, Ready or Not? That's the one. Is the girl wearing a sheep mask, or isn't she like hunted by a family?
yeah.
Yeah.
I,
The
That's
night
the one where
before
she gets
wedding.
married.
The night before a wedding.
Yeah.
okay, no, I've seen the previews to it. I haven't seen that one.
But yeah, like I could see those guys doing something like that and doing it justice and like doing a great movie.
It would be. I mean, it would almost be basically an exact remake.
It would, yeah, for sure. They would do a big fancy.
It wouldn't be
house
shot for
and-
shot. They'd be
Yeah.
as long as it's not shot for shot.
But they're
Then-
two guys that would also stick to the source material and kind of they would pay homage to the original.
Yeah.
You know, in the remake did. I mean, look at Joffrey Rush. He did a lot of that. You know what I mean? Like with his makeup and all that stuff, and hell, his name is Price in the movie. But anyway, so let's get into some comparisons here. So that's a strong recommend from Karen in a sense. I wouldn't even say strong recommend.
No,
To me,
I
It's
don't-
not. I wouldn't
it's
say
not-
it's a strong
it's not for
recommend. I wouldn't say it's
everybody.
a strong recommend by
So-
any means for any of us.
Yeah, to me, it really depends on who I'm talking to about it. Like who
Right.
it is that.
If
I
it's a
would be like,
horror
"Well,
movie
we might
buff,
like
you're
that."
gonna be like, you've never seen that. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Like
yeah.
you need to watch that.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? But if it's somebody like a random, you know,
yeah,
like if your mom was asking you about it, like, yeah, mom, don't waste your time.
yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Well, I'd tell my mom to watch it.
I'd tell my mom to watch it just because you didn't watch this back then, mom.
Heck, I tell my mom if it has science fiction in it, I don't even tell her about it.
Oh, because she just doesn't.
She
like
does not like science fiction.
it. Oh yeah.
Anything. So, like, if somebody says something little bit about a movie and they're talking to my mom, I'm like, don't even talk about it. It's science fiction. She's not going to dig it. And what I've told them is she just hasn't found a science fiction movie that she's into yet. But also, when it comes out to science fiction, she don't want to watch it. So it's very hard for her to find a good one.
Okay, so the 1959 version. Oh man, we have some gripes with this movie. Just, I mean, not a lot, but like, there's a few where we're like, all right,
Things that just don't make sense.
yeah.
Number one,
but,
the
I mean,
blind lady.
if
That's,
you had-
that's
yeah.
probably the number one and the biggest
Well,
one
if
for
you
me.
had to compare the what the fucks to this between this one and the 1999, I mean, obviously the 1999 version is like it tips the fucking scale. You know what I mean? Like, there's a lot of like, what the fuck was that? Like, what is the point of this? You know, so there's a lot of that. But in the 1959 version, where they're working with like what 100 and, or I mean, like I don't know, like 85 minutes or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah,
all
it's
the
an
longer the
hour.
movie is.
It's an hour and 15-minute runtime.
So like, so for a movie like that, you're like, why the fuck? You know what I mean?
Well, the first thing I think that catches you off guard, and we talked about it in the first one, is that the outside of the house, right? It does not match the interior.
Yeah.
It always throws you off the first time you see the movie.
Yeah, looking at the outside, you feel like you go in, it would be modern.
Yeah, very modern house.
Yeah, not
Or at least, at the very least, it would be a
little
lot
more
more.
eccentric.
The lines would be lines. They would be sleek. It wouldn't be.
It wouldn't look like Victorian.
Well, yeah, there wouldn't be so. It wouldn't be so Victorian
Yeah,
looking.
and that was the biggest issue that I had with the house itself, because I just felt like the outside didn't match the inside. I know they were looking for something that was like different, I think, for the movie, but they could have went so much of a different route, you know.
I think a lot of it probably at that day and age, and I don't know this for sure, but it was probably location. That house is on a cliff, secluded away from itself.
But honestly, with the camera angles and stuff, you couldn't even tell that. They could, because they didn't do a wide view of the house.
There is that one really great angle when they first get there and they
he's
walk
looking
through
over
that
the
gate.
ledge.
And he's looking over the
I
ledge, and you
understand
see
that, but they could have done that anywhere. Anywhere.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of other houses, but I mean, in my mind, I guess maybe that might have been the reason.
Right,
One of the reasons was for the location itself. I don't know that.
That,
though.
and maybe they thought just at that time that house is creepy. Maybe they just thought
maybe
it
it just had
creepy.
the
But
look
that's
they were
the thing
going
for
for.
me, though. Like, I mean, it might have been creepy back then, but for me, I was.
Yeah,
just like,
it didn't do that for me.
It gave off no creep factor.
Yeah, it didn't do
It
that
looked
for
more
me.
like, I kind of want to see what the inside of that house
Yeah,
looks like.
it gave
you know what I mean?
To me, it gave more of a modern
To
feel.
me, it looked like, you know, those blocks that people put up, like, for privacy, you know, like between, like those white blocks that have, like, the lines in them or whatever. That's what it looks like to me, is like somebody put those up, you know, for a house.
Yeah.
Like, why would somebody build a house with those? That's what it looked like to me.
Right,
It looks like somebody built a house with those, like, gardening bricks. But I don't know.
I don't know either. And I thought it was ridiculous. And then it gets inside and it's all very Victorian.
Sure, but it was a soundstage.
Right,
but,
understandably.
Obviously. But
Obviously,
Yeah.
the inside of the house don't look like that. But honestly, that is not even the biggest gripe that I have for that movie.
But you see, also during that time, people weren't probably doing that. Like, you know, looking at the outside and
Right,
the inside.
they were
like,
just-
oh, that's different.
I mean, you literally see, like, 45 seconds of the outside.
yeah, we're probably paying way too much attention. But yeah,
people back then, they didn't care about that stuff. Also, like, back then, seeing movies was an outing.
yeah.
You know, not nowadays where you can just sit on your couch.
Yeah, extreme.
And you
awesome
watch it
porn.
over and over and over
Yeah.
again. Like, most of the time, that was the one and only time somebody saw that movie.
Yeah, and a lot, like, nowadays, it ain't like it was back then where, like, people literally get online and blast the shit out of movies like we are right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, back then, they weren't concerned with that.
Yeah,
sort
they
of
would
thing,
have.
you
That
know?
would have been like 2 seconds of a movie. They would have forgotten about it and never thought about it
Right,
again.
exactly. Never
Yeah.
thought about it. They probably would have been like, wow, that is a really interesting looking house. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yep.
Well, see, also with reviews, like, I don't trust reviews. And, like, a lot of the things what I figure we're going to do on this is we're just going to be like, it's our opinion.
Exactly.
So that's
Absolutely.
what it's
Yeah,
going with.
Yeah, we're not basing our opinions off of anybody else's opinion.
Yeah.
These are just our opinions. We're not telling anybody here that this movie sucks ass or that movie sucks ass. We're just saying our opinion. If you don't like our opinion, you don't have to agree with it.
This should be just pure entertainment value.
Yeah.
Yep.
Don't listen to us. We're idiots.
If you want to
Or
just
listen to us because we're smart idiots.
I mean, listen to us because we're funny.
But, you know,
listen to
also-
us because
there might be some also is like people, you know, that are listening like, oh, I've never seen that movie, and then they
Don't-
listen to us talk about it,
Yeah,
and they're
I
like,
mean,
I might want to check that out, or I might not want to check that out, you know. But yeah,
You've talked me right out of that fucking movie. I don't think I want to watch it
there's
now.
stuff that I've seen where it's like, oh, I want to see that, and somebody talks about it, it's like, nah, not anymore.
No.
I don't
Like,
think there's not too many movies that somebody's talked me out of.
Yeah, if there's a movie that I'm pretty adamant about watching, I'm going to watch it. But
And there's been a couple movies where I've watched the previews, and then people have said, yeah, all the good parts of the movie in the preview.
The Men
And
Who
I'm like,
Stare at
oh.
Goats.
yeah.
Was that one? Was one of those?
That movie was pretty boring. All the
That
best
movie
parts
was
were in the
hilarious in the trailer, and then you watch the movie,
and it's pretty boring.
the whole trailer was hilarious. It was all in there.
Yep.
I thought I wanted to watch that too.
Yep.
Karen
No, I just saved
talked
you.
me
I
right
just,
out
I
of
just
it.
saved you.
Just watch the trailer.
And I'm legit.
I'll be honest. I've watched it too, and she's right. So it's a very boring movie.
Yep.
It's cool, like watching like Jeff Bridges and George Clooney and all
the
that.
trailer was hilarious.
Yeah, the trailer's awesome. Then you watch the movie, you're like, all the funny parts were in the trailer.
Yep.
So, like the part where he runs into a rock. That's
Yep.
in the trailer.
Yep.
Or the part where he's blowing up clouds with his mind. That was in the trailer.
Or when he's staring at the goat.
Yeah, and it falls over. Yeah. It's all in the trailer.
Yep.
But anyway, back to the movie. So the whole movie, the whole premise of this movie is it's a murder mystery. It is not a supernatural movie in any way.
Yep.
They lead you to believe that it is, and turns out it's just this millionaire's wife and her lover, who is the doctor, that is trying to scare the shit out of this woman to the point that she believes that Vincent Price's character is
Maybe they played the blind lady.
Maybe they what?
Maybe they paid her. She can't talk. It's not like she can tell anybody.
Honestly, I'll be honest with you. That is the most likely scenario.
That's what I'm saying. Okay, what I'm talking about is
because they even say
lady,
that oh, we've almost got her, over the edge, and
that's what I'm saying.
So maybe it still doesn't make any sense.
I know. Okay, so what I'm talking about is the blind lady in this movie is like the caretaker's wife.
Let's give them the scene set up here.
Okay, yeah. So Nora's in the basement
with
which is the girl that they
player.
want to kill Vincent Price's character, which is the husband, and so she's down there with the football guy.
Is he play?
No, he's not a football guy in the original.
He's
one.
an
He
athlete of
is
some kind.
a pilot. He's a pilot. Yeah.
No, in the new one, he was a baseball player.
I
Yeah,
thought
he's a
he was a
baseball
football player in the original.
Yeah, you guys keep saying football player, but no.
I
So
never said football
she's
player.
she's in the basement with the pilot, and they're trying to figure out something. And
where all these doors go. There were so many doors in the basement.
So
and nobody fucking cares.
Yeah, so she's in this dark room, and she's hitting the wall, and he's hitting the other wall.
Oh yeah.
And she turns around, and there's the caretaker's wife. You don't know it's the caretaker's wife at the time, but she looks scary as shit. Like she's holding up her hands in like these claw gestures,
like this
and her
growling facial
face
expression.
is like her lips are all up in a snarl. If you've ever seen the movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. And she's like standing there, legit trying to scare this girl to death. And then she like glides away. She doesn't even walk. She like glides out of the room.
Floats out of the room.
Yeah,
And it doesn't even look like it's...
it's like it
it's a
legit.
straight
There
up
is
glide.
there is no way she wasn't trying to scare that girl. There is absolutely no plot line that explains why that woman was down there acting that way,
or even how it was done.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, if you
But-
know,
but-
she doesn't come... She comes out of nowhere.
Well, and the best part is that later they try to explain it away. This is my favorite part in the whole movie. Is so like later the caretaker's wife show up and Nora points at her and she's like, "That's the ghost." And Vincent Price he looks at her and this was his whole explanation. He was like, "Oh, that's the caretaker's wife. She's blind, you know." Like that's his whole explanation.
She's blind. Blind people can magically float, and they scare the fucking shit out of people for no reason.
Like,
and
that was his whole
what really
explanation.
bugs me is, for one, she walked into this goddamn room.
No, she floated.
No, I'm talking about.
That's how she walks.
I'm talking about the girl. She walks into
yeah.
this fucking room, knocks, waiting for him to knock on the door or knock on the other side of the wall. Which by the way, made no sense. Why the fuck? Who cares if there's a trap door in there? because he was trying to figure out whoever knocked him over the head or whatever. And then how the fuck did this blind lady get in this room with her where the only entrance and exit is through the door that she came through?
She didn't hear her because she glides.
Hey, that is the only explanation, is that she glides. But she ended up behind her somehow. On the opposite side of the room.
She glides.
And there she was, doing this thriller type thing.
Well, there's also a part, though, where she clearly glides because the girl's, and remember, she comes towards her from the stairs?
Yeah.
That's a glide.
That's what I'm saying. She doesn't walk, so she didn't hear her. She glides.
I think what she did was she gave up her sight to a genie for a gliding ability.
See? All right. See, now we're getting somewhere.
Maybe there is a supernatural aspect to this movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not horror, it's just a genie.
So,
I don't know if I think a genie looked at me and said, "Well, you can either fly or glide, or can't, but you can't see." I think I would be like, "I'd rather just see."
You can glide into walls and shit.
Yeah. You know who I think the genie is, though?
Vincent Price?
It's got to be Vincent Price. It's the mustache.
His power's all in the mustache.
Yeah, it's the mustache, dude. I'm telling you, it's Vincent Price.
Oh shit, that's funny. Okay. Well,
so now that we've explained the gliding,
I still say they paid her though, because there is absolutely no reason she was down there acting a fool like that. No reason.
No reason at all. I don't understand how she got in there.
She glided.
She would still be like noticed. You know what I mean?
She didn't make any noise. She glides.
You know, there's some I just now kind of realized at the end too when he does, because he's like the guy tried to kill me. He fell into the acid. Then my wife tripped and fell into the acid. I'm prepared to do my time. Like you just said that it was an accident. Now
you're not playing this off very well.
I don't understand why the doctor was gonna push him into the acid, because if the girl shot him and it was an accident, why did he have to hide the body?
Yeah,
that's true.
See, there's a lot of things that, when you start to...
It was a very fucked up plan.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think that...
Well, no, the plan was fantastic. It was the after party that didn't... Like, why do you got to be down there and put him in the acid?
I just want to know where the fuck he got the rope for the skeleton that can be dipped in acid. Because that's going to be that's a tough nylon.
It's at the end of it, too. He throws the strings and the skeleton into the water. Also, I want to know, why didn't they not empty out the acid? Why is the acid still there?
I mean, what do you do with a giant vat of acid, man?
You drain it somewhere.
How? Who knows that there's even a drain in that thing? And are you going to put your hands in there to drain it? You got to pull the plug on
the
that?
guy had to get
the vat of acid is there for the same reason that giant tub of blood was in the second one.
Yeah.
Nobody knows.
Yeah, for no reason at all. The only difference is...
Plot. That's the only
difference
reason
is
there.
you can actually drain that big vat of blood could have been drained. But the acid...
But the plot wouldn't be there then.
Yeah, then the plot wouldn't be there. Then you wouldn't have Ali Larder in there, about to fall in.
See, that's what Jeremiah always tells me when I try to pick apart movies. He's always like, shut up, plot.
To help
Really?
the plot move along.
No, it's plot. It's for plot movement, so shut up.
I mean, yeah. I just gotta say, though, Taye Diggs was fucking boring in that movie, dude.
Yeah.
He is such a charismatic guy. Like, he's that really nice, sweet dude.
Yeah.
But in that fucking movie, he was very one-dimensional. Like, dude, you are just a bland fucking person. Especially for a pro baseball player. Like, dude, you are boring. You're just a boring individual.
So, are we moving on to the next one then?
We could talk about both of them if you want.
Well, I just wanted to say, I'm a huge fan of Jeffrey Combs. Anything the man does.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time I watched this, I was stoked about Jeffrey Combs being in it. And the second time watching it again, I'm kind of like, he's not all that much in it.
He's only got about 45 seconds.
He's the guy who
of
played
screen
the
time.
Price guy, right?
No, he's the doctor.
The doctor. Oh, okay. Yeah, he's not in that very
the
much.
asylum doctor.
He's
Yeah.
only got about 45 seconds of screen time.
Yeah, I mean, if you added it all up, he was probably in there for maybe 5.5 minutes of
Not
screen
even.
time.
Not even.
I mean, it's like,
Like, it shows a few shots of him
I mean,
at the beginning,
he's
and
still
then
he's
after
still
that.
such a great commandeering presence on the screen. Like
I disagree.
really?
I don't think he was intimidating at all. They didn't show enough of him. I think that he
yeah.
needed. I think that honestly, I think that what would have made the movie better was instead of that fucking ghost smoke cloud thing, it should have been him locked up in that bitch.
That would have.
And then infused with the power, or maybe like he was filled with rage from the vengeful ghosts of
That's
or something like that.
really good. Yeah.
But instead of like this ghost cloud thing, like because they tried to make him out to be like this antagonist.
Yeah,
In the background, like the part where the dude walks in and the dude's whole fucking face and inside of his head is missing.
Yeah, I wonder why they didn't do that because they
They
whole
set
thing,
him up that way.
Yeah, they set him up to be like this big bad.
Yeah.
And
He wasn't-
yeah, that's a good question.
That's what I'm saying. Where I said that this movie is kind of all over the place. Whenever it comes to that, because you got him who looks like the antagonist,
He should have been. Jeffrey Combs is a
but
fucking
instead
legend.
they took and made these goddamn ghosts
yeah.
as a unit
yeah.
the antagonist.
Yeah.
And they shouldn't have been the antagonist. Honestly, they should have been the protagonist.
Yeah.
They should have been the one saving the day at the end of the day. By maybe Jeffrey Combs' character comes out and he's trying to kill everybody off in the house and blah, blah, blah.
Well,
and then
really-
these ghosts come in and kind of suck his like spirit back or whatever.
Well,
you know what I mean?
really, actually, the ghosts that were involved in the evil were actually Vandekit and his proteges. They were all part of the evil.
Okay.
So the other ghosts, the ghosts that would have been considered good, would have been the asylum people, which were just crazy. So they wouldn't have made sense. So
Well,
that's why none of the ghosts would have cared to do a damn thing about anything. So the evil were all of Vandekit and his people. That's why they were trying to get the 5 that got away.
Okay.
Because they were pissed that 5 of them got away.
I gotcha.
You know.
And those were the descendants, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So that's why they were
except for Tay Diggs, he was adopted.
Yeah, well, and then,
I'm adopted.
and then Allie Larders was like, she wasn't supposed to even be there.
Yeah, she wasn't even. She was an imposter, but like, yeah. So, yeah, I remember watching it the first time and that not even entering my mind. But the second time, I was like, why is Jeffrey Combs not a bigger thing here?
He should have been the biggest threat. For the whole movie.
he is.
Yeah,
he is a classic horror movie icon, and he's
they
not.
and they underutilized him.
Yeah, they underutilized him for sure.
Yeah, 100%. I agree, 100% with that because he is a huge horror movie icon. I wouldn't say he's as big as like Vincent Price or Robert Englund, anything like that, but he's still huge in the horror community. When you got fucking Reanimator and
Frighteners.
Was he in Frighteners?
Oh, honey.
Who the fuck was he in Frighteners?
He was the FBI agent.
Oh, fuck, he was, wasn't he?
Oh, my goodness.
Wait, that's that guy?
Yes.
Yeah, wow. That was him, wasn't it?
Yes.
Oh.
He's one of those faces, you're like, God damn it, I know that guy.
The FBI guy that has like his chest all carved up and
Yeah.
stuff? Oh,
yeah,
heck.
that's Jeffrey Combs.
Fuck,
He
you're
is
right,
in the
that was him.
Reanimator.
Wow.
Yeah. Holy
Huh.
shit. You just gave him more brownie points. I love Frighteners.
I forgot he was in the Reanimator.
Frighteners is another one that doesn't, like the CG and everything doesn't hold up well. Like
Frighteners
over
is
time. It's still
Frighteners
a great
is still a
fucking
good
movie.
Out of
movie.
here.
It's still a great movie. I'm not dissing on it. I'm just saying the CG doesn't hold up. So, but anyway, back to our movie here. So, all right. So where were we?
Underutilized.
Underutilized,
Yeah.
and also I think that Bridget, what's her last name?
Bridget Wilson.
Wilson. I was gonna say Bridget Larson. Who's Bridget Larson?
She's another actress, I think.
Okay.
Brie Larson is
Oh,
who
Brie
you're thinking of.
Larson. That's what I'm thinking of. So Bridget Wilson, she was underutilized. She dies like
5 seconds in.
5 seconds in.
She
like-
was actually supposed to be in it for longer.
Which one was she? Was she the one that was...
She was the celebrity.
Celebrity?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
But I was kind of glad that they killed her character off because she was very I could see her getting annoying really quick. Very annoying really quick.
Yeah.
Kind of like what Chris Kattan did.
I loved him in that movie.
I fucking hated him in this fucking movie. Before I even saw his fucking face, he was on my nerves. Because I heard his voice, and I'm like, oh my god, here we go.
He was my favorite character.
Like, yeah, he's a comedic actor, but I'm like watching this horror movie thinking, dude, take it back a few notches. Like, it's not, I don't.
My favorite part is when the one guy's like, where will that leave us? And then, he walks over and he's like, hits the drink out of his hand and he's like, well, where will that leave us? And he's like, out of scotch, thanks to you, ass. Like, I love that part.
He's got a couple of moments where I'm like, it wasn't so bad. But I think it's just his mannerisms and the way he, like, acts and, like, he's very flamboyant and cartoony.
Also, when he's pulling the cord and the thing, like, he's the one who let the guy out. Like, if you're at that part,
I didn't think it looked like him.
Really?
It was him, but
yeah, it looked very cartoony to me. Like, he looked like he was trying to be goofy, and it was like, nah, man, you should look like you're...
But it wasn't him. It was like CGI, and the CGI I thought looked bad. I didn't think it looked like him.
CGI?
The ghost, Chris Kattan, when he...
Oh, yeah.
I didn't think it looked like him. Like, you knew it was him.
I did that part also didn't make any sense to me.
Well, yeah, we talked about that the last time too. So that wasn't supposed to be the original ending.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah, it was supposed to be. Price was supposed to die in the basement, and Pritchard, Chris Kattan, and Ali Larder were supposed to get out. And because it made sense for them to get out because Pritchard was just the owner and, she wasn't even supposed to be there.
But isn't Pritchard also descendant to the Doctor?
No. But
I thought he was descendant
in the
to
original,
Doctor.
he was. In the original, he was a descendant, and the house was handed down to him. In the new one, his dad had bought the house or bought the asylum or whatever. It was trying to build it into a house.
His grandfather bought
or his grandfather,
it. Or
something like that.
Something,
yeah.
Something
Okay,
like that.
I thought he was part of the family.
Well, no, I think they changed that because his picture or something is in there, in that when they go down the basement. Because in the original, he got out, but then in this,
I just gotta say the Pritchard from the 1959 version, way better. He was a much better. I liked his man. I liked the way that he kind of played crazy a little better. It wasn't like this over the top.
I don't think he was crazy. I think he legit thought the house was haunted. Like
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
You guys say there's no supernatural element to that movie, but I think that he legit thought the house was haunted. Those heads never got explained.
Well, no, in the movie, in the 1959 version, I do admit there's got to be something
That's
because
what I'm saying.
he even
He was
says
terrified
that he almost died in it one night.
Yeah, but that could be all chalked up to chance, essentially. Like, there's nothing in the movie that says that there is a supernatural element.
No, there's
that's
nothing
proven
we
for the
see,
movie.
but I'm just saying he was terrified.
Right.
So there's something there. We're just not party to it. And those heads were never explained. They were real.
Well, were they, though?
Yeah.
Because they didn't look very fucking real to me.
Well, of course they didn't. They're 1959 props.
But I think that's something else that could have been very easily manipulated.
I mean, if you're in a house and there's heads in a suitcase and you pick one up,
Just because it looks real doesn't mean it is.
I'm pretty sure if you pick up a head, you're going to be able to tell if it's real or not. Just saying.
I'm just saying, I still think it's a murder mystery. It's not supernatural.
I'm just saying there's certain things in that movie you couldn't quite...
There are certain... I agree. There are certain parts where it's like, okay, well, that's weird. You couldn't... Like, the part where the wife's at the window and the rope's moving.
Yeah, and it wraps around her feet.
Yeah, like, how does that happen?
Like, unless you've got, like, a magic rope or she's trying to lasso it somehow, like, there's no way. I don't know.
Murder
I'm just
mystery.
saying. Okay.
Murder mystery.
You go ahead. You go on with your bad
I think
self.
there can be some supernatural in the original, but it was just very masked.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to... I don't think that the 1959 version is flawless by any means. It
Also,
definitely
now
has
Paranormal is flawed.
I didn't say that it was fucking flawed, man. I'm just saying that there's no supernatural in it. But I will say that I think that I don't think it's flawless or anything like that. And there are a lot of things about the movie that I'm like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Like, what? How do you explain this? And like the fucking blind lady or Vincent Price's apparent acid-resistant ropes that he uses for his skeleton. And then there's a multitude, but it's 1959.
Sure.
Those things can be excused. But whenever you come up to 1999 and you've got some shit in there that you're like, that doesn't make any fucking sense, you know? And
Like the big vat of blood.
like the big vat
There's
of blood.
no reason to have that.
There's no reason. And why is it still there? Even if the house was abandoned for all those years. And
What? Like, yeah, was the guy down there like, hey, there's a big vat of blood. No reason to empty that. I'm sorry, but if I go into my house and there's a big vat of blood, that's the first thing I'm going to get rid of.
I think we should probably get rid of that big tub of blood down there.
I don't know. They always say kitchens and bathrooms sell a place, so maybe that's where I'm going to spend most of my time and money. I'm just saying.
Kitchens and bathrooms sell a place, not basements with tubs of blood.
I'll wait on that. That's not resale value right there.
I guess she's got a point.
I'm just saying.
Well, it does look like the upstairs of it was redecorated. So yeah, maybe he was just like, I'll worry about
I ain't worried about the basement right now.
the weird sculptures and the vat of blood later.
Yeah, I'm telling you, resale value. He was worried about the resale value.
I just want to know how he was able to survive fixing up. I mean, the window, the fucking skylight itself was like.
Yeah, they never really explained. Like, did he set that up to where that would blow up, or did it just happen?
No, that was just an homage to the chandelier falling down in the first one.
Yeah.
So the chandelier falls down 5 seconds after they get there.
Yeah, but the chandelier in the first one they say was set up by one of them.
Yeah.
But they never say if the skylight was set up.
The only thing that I can find on it was that it was just an homage to the chandelier from the first one.
There was a lot more of a supernatural element to the new one from the beginning than there was with the original.
There's a spider. Don't hurt him. He was over here earlier, and I realized he was in front of my eyes, and then he climbed up. I'm not a big fan of spiders, but he wasn't doing anything. What if you just ruined his whole day? What if he's like, I spent hours trying to get down there.
I think he'll be okay. So anyway, let's see here. What do we got here? My notes.
I like the fact that the party favors were...
In caskets?
Yeah, the caskets, but they updated it in the second one where it was like this big casket and they opened it up.
Yeah, I did like that. I thought that was a pretty
caskets.
cool little element there. I like the way they did the caskets.
Yeah.
I want to talk about is it James? How do you say his name? Spike.
I forgot what his name was.
Isn't it?
It's not Marsden. Marston? Martin?
Mars.
I had to look it up last time because I don't know him.
Yeah.
I didn't watch Buffy.
You can either refer to him as Spike or as Harry Dresden.
Harry Dresden.
Yeah.
Why Harry Dresden?
Because he reads he does all the audio for the Dresden Files.
Okay. I forgot about that one.
Oh, James Marsters.
Marsters, yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So all right, so James, I know he's not in it for very long, and honestly, it's kind of disappointing because I think he would have made an awesome addition to
if he was one of the guests.
If he was one of the guests instead of just the cameraman for the movie, because but
Who would he have played?
that's a good question. Not the doctor, and definitely not the baseball player. If they gender swapped Bridget Wilson's character with him, and he was the celebrity.
Yeah.
I think
that would have worked because the bleach blonde hair.
I could see that.
Yeah, if they would have done that,
I could
see him being that kind of pretentious person because he's kind of like that in Buffy anyway.
Yeah.
But I think that I want to address the situation that he found himself in on the roller coaster, where it was falling and he thought it was falling, and just like the
jumping up and down
jumping.
part.
I understand that like there's a myth or whatever behind if you jump at the right time you'll survive the fall, which is fucking false anyway because you're falling anyhow. But the fact that he started jumping looks so goddamn goofy. And they just could have had him scared in the corner or screaming or something. It would have had a much better effect rather than him jumping up and down like a jackass. Because he looked like a fucking idiot.
Did you guys know who the reporter was?
No.
Who was with him? Lisa Loeb.
Why do I know that name?
She was a singer in the 90s.
Was she?
Yeah. You Say.
Oh, yeah, I know that song.
Yeah.
And then there was also another cameo from another actress back then, and I'm not even sure that she even made it into the final cut at all. I can't remember her name though. She had a very distinct face, like look, and once you saw her, you're like, oh yeah, I've seen her in a bunch of stuff, but I don't know her name.
I watched a video not too long ago of people that like it was celebrities that like did bad stuff. Did you know R. Kelly tried to marry what's her name?
Yeah.
When she was like 15?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
I think they did actually. I think they did get
It got annulled
Yeah.
real quick because
of her
it was a
age.
fake ID.
Yeah.
Yeah, R. Kelly's not a good dude from what
No,
I've
no.
found out.
No, he's not a good dude. He's a fucking dirtbag. But anyway, so
But it was just weird because I didn't know that. I thought it was
oh, and we also need to address the fact that every fucking horror movie from this age, like you remember, did you ever see the Blair Witch Project?
Yeah.
Season of the Witch or no?
Are you
Yeah, the
talking about the
second
one?
one.
The
Oh,
second
Book
one?
of Shadows or
Book of
whatever.
Shadows, yeah.
Like you remember how infused with like Marilyn Manson
Yeah.
that movie was? That's what this movie does too. Like here's some fucking
But it's,
Marilyn
I
Manson.
don't know, it's like the nostalgia thing again.
I think
Well,
I think 'cause in that time it was like-
had Sweet Dreams in it.
well, because I think back in that time, dude, it was like Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie were known as the two weirdest guys in music, so that's why.
Well, and then Trent Reznor.
And then their music made sense in the movies because, let's face it, they got that sound.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, the boy brings up a good point.
They got a weird sound.
They had the sound that they were looking for.
Right, and then you also had Rob Zombie, like, and then you had Rob Zombie and Marilyn Manson in like Idle Hands, which is also a very fucking just that time period of movie. You know what I mean?
Don't even.
I like Idle Hands. It's okay.
I will come across this table.
Oh, you have way too much nostalgia.
And I will.
Do you even
choke
like?
the
Do you even
life
like
out of
new
you.
horror movies, or is it just?
Yeah, I like new horror movies. Yeah.
What's the most recent one you could say you like?
Oh God, we just watched. You asked me too quick.
They all suck, so I gotta pick the
No.
best one.
No. What did we just watch?
I'll tell you the best one that I've seen recently.
Hold on, I'll have to ask him.
And
'cause I
you
can't remember
guys
the name.
might not agree with me, but I'm gonna say Malignant.
I haven't watched it.
Was that the one where the girl had the?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I didn't like that one.
No,
No,
I loved it.
no, I thought it worked better
It was-
as a book.
It was a book.
Yeah,
You know, it's a James Wan movie, right?
yeah,
I think they just gave him a budget and said, "Here, do whatever you want with it."
yeah. I didn't like it. Didn't translate
Oh, I
well to
loved
the
it.
media.
I thought the movie was great.
No, I didn't.
It was
like
just over the top and stupid and crazy.
I didn't. I thought that the problem I had with it was the way it all ended and the way that they. It was like a nuclear ending. Like they didn't know how to.
In the movie,
Yeah, so they were just like,
Maybe.
just
maybe
do something.
it was kind of an abrupt, like a weird ending. But,
Yeah.
But anyway, so let's get back to our movie. That we're
Yeah, so
talking
fuck off. I do watch new movies.
about. Okay.
I don't. You want to know what the best horror movie that I've seen that's new is? Like seriously, but probably I'm sorry, but I really like
Oh, Black Phone. That's what I was trying to think.
Oh, I
of.
didn't
just
like that
Oh,
movie.
I loved it.
I didn't
Black
like it.
Phone.
Black Phone.
Really good.
I want to
Either one.
see that.
It's
I was
so
a
good.
fan.
So good.
I want to see it.
So good.
I
Don't
didn't
listen to
like,
him.
Jessica said the same thing. She loved it and
Don't
stuff.
fucking
We
listen
watched
to
it and I was like, this
It's
movie's
like
Don't
one of the
fucking
only.
listen to him.
It's one of the only horror movies that's came in a while
Don't
that I
fucking
want to
listen him.
watch.
He's fucking stupid. Don't fucking listen to him.
Wow, dude. Wow.
Yeah,
Wow, bro.
I do want to see that movie though.
So another thing I want to address is the whole dynamic between Vincent Price and his wife in the original compared to the Joffrey Rush
Yeah.
and
Famke Johnson.
Famke Jensen and the new one, or newish one, I guess, the 99 version.
Vincent.
And I did not like their relationship, and I didn't like how they on screen together. It was very. They were more. How do I put it? Feudal with each other, I suppose. Like they hated each other.
I think in the old movie, the original, their relationship, it seemed more playful.
Right, exactly.
And then the other one was I straight up
Well,
hate.
I think that's more a sign of the times
I think
rather
you're right there.
rather than what they were trying to convey with the characters.
Right.
Because I think there's true hatred between both married parties.
Yeah.
Honestly, I mean, both married parties hated each other.
But I think you're probably right with that. I think back in the 1950s, like that, to convey that sort of hatred between two people on screen
was unnatural.
was pretty
Taboo.
unnatural. Yeah, it was very unheard of.
Or even to convey that kind of hatred would have been understood by what they did on screen.
Right.
What we would consider playful, everybody out in the crowd would have been like, "Oh my word!
Yeah, right.
Did you hear what she just said to him?"
Did you see? Yeah.
You know, I mean, what we would consider playful banter now, they would be like, "Oh, they're headed for divorce."
Was truly
I mean,
rude.
it's over.
Yeah, I know at the beginning it was kind of like one of those things where you were like, are they playing with each other or is this real? Like, do they actually hate each other? But whereas in the new one, like, it was straight
Right up,
hate
you
from the
could
beginning.
Mm-hmm.
You could tell she despised him.
Yeah, because in the original, I remember thinking, wait a minute, are they playing?
Yeah.
Or do they actually hate each other? Because
Right.
there was that one part where they were talking about, like, she trying to kill him. I'm like, wait a minute, did she really try to kill him? Like, because I'm sorry, but if I'm dating somebody and she tries to kill me...
You guys, like, was I the only one, like, when I was listening to the two of them, when they were talking, they were talking about, like, the son of Sam Hunt and all that other stuff that they were talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Like...
I was kind of
does anybody want a prequel? I want to see what
I was
they've
kind
done.
of like, I was kind of like interested. I'm like, hold on now, what's the son of Sam Hunt?
I want to know.
It was
about
a very brief.
I want to
thing
know
that they
about
said.
like their married life before. Can we see a prequel of that?
That would be
like
pretty
I just want to know what led up to this. Like I'm
Right.
kind of interested in both married parties. Like what
What
led
made
up?
them
What
hit each other?
led up to you guys meeting, and to now? Like how did I mean, I think in the second one it's pretty obvious that she married him for his money.
For money, yeah.
And she's a shrew, and she's a vapid woman.
Yeah, because...
A vapid, shrew
Because
bitch of a
one
woman.
of the main differences between the original and the new one is, in the original, she loved the doctor dude.
Yeah.
And the new one,
She did not give a fuck.
She straight killed his ass.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's like, I don't need you, and you would be more beneficial to me dead. So that's
Yeah.
what she did.
Yeah.
So I think in the new one, I think it was more of her character than Vincent Price's character that was portrayed very differently, because her character was portrayed in the original as she still cared for the doctor, and the whole idea was to get away from Vincent Price's character, take his money, blah blah blah.
Yeah,
whatever.
so like you truly start to
So,
wonder, is
yeah.
Vincent Price's character in the first one, is he a bad guy or a good guy?
yeah, like
is-
you don't really know. Even
you don't-
by the end,
yeah,
you really
even at
don't
the
know
end,
that
you're
much.
not sure.
Whereas in this one, in the '99 version, you're like looking at
You
the characters.
almost
you're
feel
like,
bad for Price.
Yeah, you feel bad for Price. You're like, holy fuck, he actually did love this woman. Because
Yeah.
at first, whenever she died, or in
Yeah.
quotation, he about loses it, and
Yeah.
you're like thinking, like, is this like all a joke? Like, is he playing this off for some whatever reason to, But then you find out that like, no, he thinks that she's dead, and so all his
He
all
really
that was real
Yeah, like
until
and
she
I
comes
took
back
it-
and all that.
yeah,
and-
I took it as like, at first I was like, why would he be sad that she died? They hated each other. But I kind of looked at it like, she hated him. And maybe this whole time, yeah, he just played along like with the hatred because I mean, at some point
That's how the relationship.
well,
he thought that's how the relationship.
Well,
worked.
at some point in time, you get tired of getting shit on, right?
Right.
So at some point in time, you just play along, and you go, all right, fine. If you're going to be an asshole to me, I'm going to be an asshole to you. But when she died, when she was dead, he realized, like, oh, that's it. She's gone. There's no there's no reconciliation here.
Didn't he know in the new one too that because he says to her, everything that you've said has been recorded. Everything that you have said has been taped.
To the doctor, but that was yeah.
So he knew what
so
was
he knew
going on.
He knew that she wasn't dead. So he was just a good actor.
Yeah,
Good point. I forgot about that.
Really?
Yeah, because remember when he had the squibs, he knew she was gonna have him shot. And when he got up and he said everything the two of you ever said to each other, recorded, taped, in a bank vault or something like that.
Yeah, he told her that everything you
when he was throwing her around and shit.
So they did just hate each other.
Yeah, never mind.
Yeah, never mind.
Never mind.
Scratch all that. So
well, because she even comes up to him when she thinks he's dead and says, "I've always loved your money."
Yeah.
See, that's just it, though. Like I said, though, like okay. So
but I still think she pushed him to it. I still,
for sure.
You know what I mean? Like I don't think he
never wanted her to die though either.
Yeah.
Even whenever
because
she was,
when he pushed her into that room, he was saying, he's like, come here, get out.
Yeah.
And
he never wanted her dead.
Yeah, he never wanted her dead. He just wanted her to learn her lesson.
He wanted a divorce. He wanted it to be over.
So, but I think that her character is far different from the 1955 version,
100%
version.
Because in the 1990 version, she's diabolical.
She's very, very evil.
But nobody does a bitch like Famke Janssen. Nobody.
She is a bitch.
Oh man,
but
she's gorgeous though. My God, is she?
Have you ever
beautiful.
seen? She was like that in The Faculty.
Yeah.
Well, at least whenever she was turned into an alien.
she was in Hemlock Grove too.
She was in Hemlock Grove, and she was very much that same character in
absolutely.
Hemlock Grove.
Oh yes, absolutely.
So, like very pretentious, money grubbing.
100%.
You know what I mean?
100%.
Well, maybe when she was young, she just found out that's what I'm best at playing at. Because
she's got the face for it.
Because a lot
she does, but she's so beautiful. I mean, like I think she's beautiful.
Because there are those actors out there that are like, oh, I don't want to be typecast, and then there are those actors like, if I'm going to be typecast, I'm going to be typecast. So I'm going to do it.
Maybe she just likes it.
Well, I think it's the face. It's her face. She's got that resting bitch face. You know what I mean?
So
Like
beautiful.
I disagree.
Beautiful.
I don't think she's that attractive.
I think she's
gorgeous.
gorgeous.
She's pretty.
She's okay, gorgeous. I guess, but I don't know. Like, I know whenever they picked her to play Jean Grey, I was like, really? Like the bitch from The Faculty? Like,
she tried though. She tried.
I'm like, she's not a nice. Like every role I'd ever seen her in, other than that, I was just like, she is not a nice person. She does not play nice at all.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if like you went to her house for Thanksgiving and it turned out that she was like nicer than your grandma or something?
Oh, right.
You know, like,
so like seeing her in the like last X-Men movie where she finally turns into the Phoenix and like turns into this bitch, I was like, that's the Famke Janssen that I know. That's the one.
There she is.
Like the Phoenix. That's not the Phoenix. That's the real her.
Like, yeah, she's not even acting.
Yeah,
now.
she's not even acting.
I would
anymore.
like to actually just meet her and see if she's a bitch.
I know.
Like, could you just meet her, like, meet her and be like, you're actually a really nice person.
I would love to meet her and she's, like, baking cookies. Like,
to be honest with you, she probably is, like, a sweet fucking person.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because, I mean, we'll look at, like, I don't know, Robert Englund. Like, everybody
he's so nice.
He's, like, the nicest fucking person.
He is the nicest person.
Whereas you got to meet him.
I did. I loved him. He was so nice.
Well, then you look at, like, people like, you know, like, Bruce Campbell, who's
real nice.
Bruce Campbell is like this icon, like, but you probably think, man, I bet he's nice in real life. No, he's a fucking asshole.
Is he?
He's a fucking asshole.
I actually met a guy who said when he was a kid, his dad, he went to the set of Evil Dead.
Yeah.
Because his friend's dad was like something for the movie. And Bruce Campbell actually walked up to this and said, whose effing kid is this?
Wow.
And he said, so that's, yeah.
If you've ever seen him in interviews and stuff, he doesn't hold anything. He's very blunt.
Yeah.
But, like, I could see Famke Janssen being just, like, this sweet lady who's just, like, very nurturing and stuff like that. She's probably some hippie
That's what
who
I'm saying.
gets
Like,
high.
I'm
you know what I mean?
I know.
She's over there making your fucking special brownies
I bet
and
you
shit.
she bakes cookies and, like, I'm telling
she's
you.
probably, like, this awesome, like, mom, like, stay-at-home mom or something. You know what I mean? Like, whereas, like, we're looking at her in these movies and these roles, like, dude, I bet she's a bitch. You know what I mean?
I bet she's like the
a
nicest
fucking
woman in the
bitch.
world.
But
Good Lord.
But then again, I mean, it all depends. Like, did you know that Russell Crowe has a fucking anger issue? Did you know that? He actually has to go to anger management classes because
You
of his
don't
anger.
say.
Yeah.
No, I totally would see that, actually.
Yeah, that's how he
I
is.
actually listened to it. Well, I used to listen. I haven't heard it in a while, but it was a song called "The Day I Almost Died." Was the day that he talks about punching Russell Crowe. Punching Russell Crowe was like the day that he almost died. Like he was talking about, he worked in a pub and he told him to put his cigarette out, and he said no, and he punched him.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and he just like was going after it. He said he couldn't, like, Russell Crowe. It's a good song. I have to send it to you sometime if I can find it.
But anyway, so I don't really have a lot more other than. Oh yeah. We had this discussion of whether the house was either an asylum or a fucking house. Also, I want to go back to the 1959 version where I think we brought this up before, where at the beginning he says, if in the result that if you die,
Yeah.
your money will go to the next of kin. But then later on in the movie he says, if your money dies, it will be distributed amongst the survivors.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I think that was a writing.
Yeah, I'm sure it was. Because Nora wouldn't have stayed if it was going to go to the survivors, because she makes the comment that she's doing this for her family. Because they were all in a car accident. She's the only one that can work.
Right, yeah. So I just thought that was like a weird, maybe, I don't know if it was part of his character or if it was just a writing hiccup. You know what I mean? Like something in the writing, or maybe
I
it
would
was
think
something
it's probably
that,
a writing hiccup.
or it could have even been Vincent Price maybe fucking up the line. Or something like that, you know what I mean? Or
and nobody caught it.
Nobody caught it, and
Yeah.
it's like, whatever. You know?
Yeah.
I'm sure back then they didn't do reshoots. You know what I mean?
Oh God, no.
Oh,
So-
no. Not with the amount of, the tape and stuff.
Yeah, the tape. Like I think film back then was pretty expensive.
It
so-
was. That's why movies were so short.
But but other than that, I mean, if you guys had to rate these movies on a scale, let's jump into this. How much time we get? All right, we're over an hour in. We still got to do trivia. So let's go ahead and get our reviews out there on a scale from 1 to 10, and we are allowed to do 0.5s. So because I don't think I made that clear before, and I did a 0.5. I mean, like I'm gonna give it a.
Can I get it
4.5.
like a 0.2 or a 0.3? Or
That's a
is
little
that-
tedious. Then you're just going from like. You might as well just like a 1 out of 100. What would you give it? I'm gonna give it a 94.
I think it's funny when they measure people like that and they say, oh, there's 7.5 people. How in the heck is there a half a person here? Or
Somebody explained that to me once, but I don't remember what the explanation
because
was.
it's like, okay, half. So the person's pregnant.
I like to think all of my children are half people. You know, like not like they're weird or aliens or anything. Or,
But that
I used
they
to say
count
that
as
when
half a
hybrids.
person.
I used
but
to
they
say
count
that-
as half a person. To
I
me.
used to say that when Jack was a baby when we went out to eat him, like 3.5.
Yeah, 3.5.
Yeah,
I agree with
'cause he's a
that. Like
kid.
they're children. Like they don't eat as much. They don't take as much space up. Their brains
Compact.
Aren't, yeah,
You know,
they're compact.
I was
I can
actually-
shove them in my trunk if I
I
want
was
to.
watching this video and it was funny because
It's illegal.
I agree
Well,
with
only
it.
if
frown on that.
if they find out.
I agree with it because this girl was saying that she don't understand why they charge a pet deposit. Pet deposits are scams because they charge pet deposits and her cat sits around all day and does nothing, but they don't charge kid deposits and kids banging on walls and stuff like that. And it makes perfect sense to me. When I was looking for an apartment, I was like, how in the hell are you going to say yes to kids but no to animals? My
Because
dog.
legally they can't say no to kids.
Exactly. But
See,
I'll
that's
tell you what, though, renters will look at you like, oh, you have children. And they will take the next person in line that doesn't have children over you, even, like, because we've ran into this before. We had someone actually almost shoot us down, but the only reason why they went with us was because the people that they ended up giving the apartment to were a couple of kids. One of them was not even legally of age, and they lied.
I think you told me this
Yeah,
story.
it was that house that we got over on Ohio. And it was like, so they ended up giving it to us because the first night there, they had a big party. They broke a ceiling fan, all kinds of crap. And so they were like, yeah, so they didn't work out if you guys still want the place. Like, oh, I'm sorry. You rented it to a bunch of kids, but you were worried about our kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like,
I always said,
but anyway.
I always said I wanted to open up like a little like housing development where it was no kids but pets okay. And my aunt was like, "You can't do that." I said, "You don't have to tell people."
Yeah.
You come to me and you have a dog or a kid, dog. Because I think it's stupid when you're trying to rent people and the people are like, "Oh, well, you can still have the house. Just go drop your dog off at the pound." Oh yeah, okay, because I haven't like grown attached to it or anything.
Right. Yeah, you just got to get rid of your dog. Yeah, okay, I'm gonna go do that.
Agreed.
I love my dogs, man.
Yeah, I love my dogs.
That's why
too.
me and my mom had a hard time finding a place at first.
There's
because
no way I'm getting rid of my dogs.
Yeah, we love.
We were
our
not
dogs.
going to get.
They're kids to us at this
Exactly.
point.
We got rid of Luna, and we made sure that she went to a family that apparently she loves. Luna went to this family that my sister got a hold of, that was like a friend that worked with her, and apparently Luna, which does not surprise me, fell in love with their dad. And that does not surprise me because Luna likes boys. But we kept Rosie, and like I miss Luna still sometimes. But yeah, it just makes me mad because we could only keep 2 animals. Because if not, I would have loved it. I just don't like the fact that people think, "Oh, you can just get animals and give them away." Like there's nothing involved there.
Well, a little bit of background for you guys there, just letting you know about our pets.
Yeah.
So anyway,
We love our animals.
we love our animals. So, all right, so we're gonna jump into our ratings for this movie, or these movies, I should say. And let's start with Matt. Matt, what do you give the 1959 House on Haunted Hill?
I'm gonna say about a 6.
A 6? That's pretty good. That's actually pretty good for an older movie like that.
Because I can understand like not being able to like stay into it.
Right,
but,
I understand. Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you give the 1999 version?
See, when we first did this, I gave it a pretty low view, but I think I'm gonna say 4.5 to a 5.
Okay. All right.
Because like this time we talked, Karen made some pretty good points. Like there were some it wasn't horrible like I thought it was.
The only point I thought she made was on her forehead. All right, so we got a 6 and a 4.
4.5 to 5.
Well, it's got to be one or the other.
4.5.
A 4.5, okay. A 6 and a 4.5. Karen, 1959 House on Haunted Hill, what do you give it?
I'd say a 7. Solid 7.
A solid 7. That's
Yeah.
pretty good. That's high up there.
Well,
But
I mean,
I understand.
again, it's for like the movie buff crowd, right?
Right.
Because if you were to ask somebody that's not a movie buff, it'd probably be like a 3 or 4, right?
Yeah, right.
So, movie buff crowd, I think, could also agree solid 7.
Like if I showed it to my like 23-year-old sister, she would give it a 0.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm saying solid 7 because, again, like you said, not Vincent Price's best movie, but definitely not the worst.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
So I'd say solid 7, and the reason it's a little higher for me is because of the twist ending. It wasn't done a lot back then.
No. Yeah.
One of the original movies to do that, so a little bit higher on the scale for me there. And then for the 1999, I'm gonna say 5.5.
5.5? Huh. Okay. Why?
I would like to go a little higher just because I love paranormal, and I think that they did do the paranormal parts right. But I don't like that they didn't give, the big baddie to the right person. Vandekit should have been like the evil,
Right.
I mean,
understand.
Or in some way, him and his, people should have been somehow the baddies or something.
I
don't, the ending for a movie is kind of make it or break it for me. So that is probably a huge factor. That's probably the biggest factor, the ending for me. But yeah, otherwise, I like the movie.
Okay, I think so. That's a solid 4.5 for 99 out of Matt, and a 6 for the 1959. And then we've got a 5.5 for the 1999 for you, and a 7 for 1959. I think for me, I think for the 1959 House on Haunted Hill, I would have to give it a 6 also. Maybe even a 6. I'd say, all right, I'll go a 6.5. I'm going to stay in the middle between you guys. And because it is a solid movie, and for its time, it was, you're right, people didn't do twists like that back then. Also, Vincent Price is automatically a winner for me. I love Vincent Price. Also, it's not a flawless movie, but I love that you're right, they weren't doing twist endings like that back then. And also, there were a lot of things that I find endearing about the movie. I love that time period. I love the way they dressed. I love the way they talk, the way they present themselves. Like that eccentric lady that was the gambler.
Yeah.
I love that. Like she's not like, I don't like her as a person, but I'm just saying like her as a character. I love that, man. Like but I'm also a Marilyn Monroe fan. I love her old movies and things like that. So those things are just like, to me, I'm like, that time was. I love anything from that time period because that
I can
was
understand
whenever.
that. I like a lot of stuff from that time period.
Yeah,
too.
I love things that like it's a soft spot for me for movies from that time because that was when men were men and women were women. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I love that. So so for that movie, seeing Vincent Price and those women and like the man being the heroic one, even though he didn't do much.
He really didn't. He kept leaving her and.
So
stay here, you'll be safe.
Stay here in the basement, you'll be safe. But yeah.
Didn't even mention the blind floating woman who came to the basement in the first place.
Yeah.
Apparently that's where she hung out.
Yeah.
Leaving her in her bedroom.
It's kind of unsafe for her to be in that basement in the first place with a giant, hole of acid. Mm-hmm. Blind lady walking around down there, like she could fall in that bitch.
How about that lady? That lady you were talking about? She kept getting the blood dripped on her. Where's the blood coming from?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Because every time she was under that spot on the floor, she would drop blood.
Did it again to her in her bedroom.
Yeah, never really explained that either. Huh. There are a lot of unexplained parts in that movie.
There are. Well, it was only a 2-minute movie.
But there's no paranormal things happening.
No, it's still a murder mystery to me.
Mm-hmm.
It's because if you want to go with, it's because that's where they focus on. That's the focus. Is that there was a murder mystery.
But I'm gonna have to say
they didn't have the special effects to do it the right way.
I'm gonna have to say for the 1999 version, I'm gonna have to go with a solid. Oh man. 4. I'm gonna go 4 because I'm just I can't. There's a lot
Chris
of things.
Kattan, wasn't it?
If you would have taken Chris Kattan out of that movie, it could have been a 5.
I was gonna say Chris Kattan automatically knocks off 2 points.
Chris Kattan.
Shut up.
I don't not like him. I just think that I like his comedies more. Like
Chris Kattan was the best part of that movie.
No, because
I really don't have a problem with Chris Kattan.
Dude, that was hilarious.
I think in the movie it was kind of weird though because there were times where he was flippy floppy, like he was a pud, and then he was a hero, and then it's the pud, and then he's a hero. It's like what the?
That was a problem.
Like
yeah.
the part where he runs down the hall and like, oh, it's Price. He wouldn't do that. That's out of character for him.
Well, it wasn't supposed to go down that way, and that's why it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, it didn't make any fucking sense. Like, hold on, he'd have been like, hold on, he's supposed to be dead. Fuck that, I'm not going down there.
I don't think I actually put that in my trivia, but it was a rewrite.
Right.
And and I think I didn't put it in my trivia because it didn't make sense. It was like a rewrite that they didn't go back and fix. That.
Like, hold on, we need to take a look at this. You know what I mean?
Like they were gonna have Pritchard not die, and then.
I'm glad he did, though.
I know.
If it wasn't Chris Kattan, I'd have been like, aw, he died. But it was Chris Kattan. I was like, I'm glad that fucker's dead. He should have died a lot sooner.
You need to chill.
I like Chris Kattan. I love him in
movie.
Corky Romano. I love him in Monkey Bone. I love him in Night of the Roxbury's. But he should not be in a fucking horror movie.
You don't like the comic relief in a horror movie?
Not like that, dude. It's just over the top. It's not
that hilarious.
like okay.
Hilarious.
Perfect example of a great comic relief is, in fact, fucking goddamn it, I don't know his name. Matthew Lillard. 13 Ghosts. I don't even like 13 Ghosts. He was the best part of that movie. He was the best part of that movie.
He was. Well, I mean, he was supposed to be.
I know, but he was also the comic relief.
Well, yeah, he was supposed to be.
I know. And it was good. It was good comic relief. It wasn't over the top. It wasn't like, shticky or cartoony. You could see the actual, fear in his eyes, but he was also doing so that he had comedic moments.
Wasn't he also the comic relief in Scream?
Yes.
Because
My
he was
mom
like,
and
well,
dad
they're
are going to
gonna
be so mad at me.
That's one of the best fucking. He was the best part of that movie.
Stu's got his motive. What's yours? Peer pressure. I'm
Peer
far
pressure.
too sensitive.
Far too sensitive. He throws the phone and hits him in the head. He goes, "You hit me with the phone, you dick!"
You dick. Oh God!
I fucking love that, man. I don't care.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
my favorite was, my mom and dad are going to be so mad at me. Is that because he's dying?
No, it was because he was.
No, it's because she called the cops.
She called
He
the
said,
cops.
He said, "Did you really call the cops?" And she says, "I bet your sorry ass I did. My mom and dad are gonna be so mad at me."
Okay, so anyway, I give it a yeah. You know what? Let's just jump into the trivia.
Okay.
Let's get into the trivia.
Okay, so for the first movie, the skeleton that they used at the end of the movie was real. Back then, it was cheaper and faster to use a real one because the money that they would make or that they would use to make a plastic one would be far too expensive.
Like we've discussed, you could just buy them from medical schools then.
They were probably pretty cheap. I'm sure
Yeah,
people-
they were just cheaper to get.
I'm sure
real
people were
ones.
constantly donating
Yeah.
their organs and bodies to science. Back
Well,
then.
that's how. That's what H.H. Holmes used to do to make money. He would
Donate the bodies.
donate the body. He would actually he would skin
Sell
them
it, yeah,
and
sell
then
them.
sell the bones to medical schools.
Yeah. So this was one of the first horror movies that actually made money, like a lot of money. So because of the money that this made, it actually inspired Alfred Hitchcock to make Psycho. So most of the horror movies at the time didn't make any money. So that's why Psycho got made. Alfred Hitchcock actually noted that he believed it was because of the twist ending. So that was another reason why he decided to go with the idea of Psycho being the first
Psycho,
one.
another movie that was remade and wasn't good.
Well, it was because it was shot for shot.
Yeah.
Wasn't the remake with Vince Vaughn too?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you do shot for shot. You're never.
Yeah,
gonna
you're
do
never
it.
gonna pull money out of a shot-for-shot remake.
No.
You got to add some.
You
kind
know,
of
I've never
originality.
seen the original, and I've looked for it. I cannot find it.
Really?
I have it. I'll let you borrow it.
It's a good movie.
So William Castle, who was the director for this movie, he was known for his gimmicks. So before 3D, he used his gimmicks to kind of immerse the audience, and he called it Emergo. And so this movie actually should be credited with some of the things that we take for granted now, like sound effects. Back in this time, a lot of the sound that you hear in movies was music, right? So you hear music where nowadays you hear branches cracking and owls hooting when you're outside, wind and things like that. Whereas back in the day when two characters were outside, you'd hear you hear music and stuff, right? Which didn't make any sense, right? He kind of figured that out. So in the movie theater, you'd actually hear sound effects that would go along with the movie. And, people started to really pay attention to that. That was part of his immersive experience. Now, the movie would still have that music or whatever because that's how they had to make the movies then. Yeah. But that actually, he actually came up with that idea where you'd have the sound effects playing in the theater, and slowly over time they realized, put it in the movie.
Could you imagine if, the Texas Chainsaw Massacre was made in that time period?
Oh, God. I mean,
it was only made probably, what was it, about 20 years later?
Yeah, it's like 1974 4 or something. Like
Yeah,
that.
maybe 15 years later.
Yeah.
But if you think about it, man,
How much leaps and bounds
right,
that they
exactly.
made in
If
those
you
time
think about
period.
it, if that movie would have been released in 1959, that would have been a fucking snuff film.
Oh yeah.
That's what they would have considered
yeah.
it. It would have never been released in
The
any
leaps
way.
and bounds we've made. Not
Oh,
just,
for
I mean,
sure, man. Like, and if you think about it, movies have taken steps back since then.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the gore and the horror factor, especially with recent horror films,
Mm-hmm.
they've definitely stepped back a lot because they have not come out with nearly. I mean, especially within, I would say, the past 5 years, 5 to 10
Evil
years.
Dead, the remake.
That was
oh
brutal.
man, the
It was
brutality and the gore.
That
in
was a good fucking remake.
That was wow.
I'm not gonna say anything. I hated that.
You did really?
I hated that
loved
movie,
it, man.
I thought it blew.
Oh, I loved it.
I
thought
did
it was
not
a
like
great
it at
movie.
all.
But like, if you think about like, look at like Human Centipede as a just like the pure disgustingness of that movie.
That's one of those
and-
movies that I feel like is just disgusting to be discussed.
Well, name the last movie that was like
Yeah.
really graphic and terrifying or anything like that. They don't make them much anymore. The new Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you could argue a little bit. But like in pure shock value and things like that, it's not. It's few and far
the
between.
hell's that
anymore.
movie called? I'll figure it
Hostel?
out. No.
No, because that's older. I mean, comparatively, Hostel's
Like I said, dude,
getting up on 20 years, 15, 20 years old.
I don't watch horror movies anymore, dude, so I don't like know. And also, like I said, I like the horror movies that don't have the gore and things because I think it's better. It's a better way to tell stories.
If
And
you could still frighten
that's
people.
why I'm different here, is because
you can
I'm the
still
guy
frighten
who
people.
don't like the blood and gore.
See, I love the
Yeah.
blood and gore. Like,
I like the blood and gore.
I love a certain grittiness to a movie whenever it comes to horror because
I love Grindhouse. I love the look of Grindhouse films.
Grindhouse film. Yeah, exactly. Or like, look at the
And that's another nostalgia.
Hills
thing
Have
for me.
Eyes.
Yep.
Yeah, Hills Have Eyes remake. That is
Oh,
a gritty,
That is a great
terrifying fucking movie.
I also don't like
movie.
horror
An
movies.
unpopular opinion, I don't like the Wes Craven one. Hills Have Eyes.
I don't like.
It's, yeah, a little
A
campy.
Serbian film.
Yeah, I was
Terrible.
I said I was gonna watch
Awful.
that, and Tabitha
Awful.
told me she's like, "Don't
You
watch
don't
that."
want to watch it.
What is it?
A Serbian film. You don't want to.
I've heard there's a part where they're raping a little girl in it, and like the little girl's an actual actress.
Ooh,
Like, yeah,
yeah, we don't need all that.
It's bad.
Yeah,
yeah, because
That's what I'm saying.
there's
you
certain
want
shock
talk about-
values. I'm like, yeah,
'Cause
don't wanna
I
go
don't-
there.
'cause
like Mother. Was it Mother?
Oh, I hated that movie.
I didn't
Mama?
want to watch that one.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
terrible. It's terrible.
I heard about the ending. I was like, yeah, I won't be watching that.
It's terrible.
I don't
I
need to
feel-
watch a bunch of people eat a child.
It's terrible.
Yeah,
So.
because
But
like
it's
yeah,
not even like good as in like, they were trying to go for like this artsy bullshit. It's not even good from that stand. Like it's just fucking bad.
yeah, because I
Well,
was
that's like Midsummer. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah.
No.
I didn't like it.
Yeah.
I didn't like it. I
See-
sat through that entire fucking movie and I'm like, this
I
movie
really
is
tried
boring.
to.
I could understand.
Oh, is that
it
the
was
word,
very.
one where they like go backpacking and they like end up in like a Viking type village?
No, that was the Wrong Turn remake, which honestly not a bad movie. It just shouldn't have been called Wrong Turn. It
Yeah.
should have been called something else.
No, there's a movie. I know what you're talking about. Like they went to because I've seen both of those movies. The Midsummer is the one where they go like to that Viking. It's like a Viking type settlement, and they have because on the cover, because in the movie they put a girl there wrapped up and they end up burning her. Right?
No.
I think I've seen it.
That's
Midsummer's
not
the one where they're like wearing all white all the time and she's got like flowers on her head and they're always dancing and tripping on fucking I think mushrooms.
something like that.
And
I think
I think it takes place in Sweden.
Sweden.
Is it Sweden?
I think it's the movie I've seen. I'm just describing it wrong because I think I've seen it. The
Definitely
cover,
not Viking.
It's definitely not Viking anyway.
Then
The
it's,
Wrong Turn remake is more
Viking,
Viking-ish.
yeah.
it's not Viking, but they have like the May thing where it's like the flower twirl thing in it. It isn't the cover like the girl sitting there and she's wearing like the flower head and
That's
she's like,
Midsummer.
That's been
yeah,
something,
I've seen that movie.
I don't know where any girls.
Maybe I'm just thinking of a different movie and
Maybe.
putting that name on it, but I've seen that movie. I've seen
Probably.
Midsummer.
Yeah.
I couldn't get into that movie.
I
I can see
couldn't
where
really
people
either.
can find it a little nerve wracking, but it just couldn't get in. I sat through the entire. Like I think Crystal went to bed or fell asleep halfway through, and I finished.
I could see why.
And I could
I watched
too.
it.
I finished it. I was like, oh my god, dude, I can't believe I sat through that fucking movie.
Yeah, because
Everybody like praised it and everything. I'm like, yeah, I mean, I could see
Not for me.
certain perspectives,
See,
but I'm just like,
I seen a thing with like the Serbian movie. I decided I wanted to watch all these movies that were on this horror movie list, and I was talking to Tabitha about that one, and she goes, "Oh, Matt, there's a scene in there where there's like they're raping a child."
I don't need to see that.
And I was like, "Oh, well,
there's certain
then,
boundaries.
I don't know.
There's certain boundaries that you just simply don't cross.
The only reason that
Yeah.
movie was made was to bring light to the world about what was going on over there.
Is that what it was? Yeah. So yeah, after she told me that, I was like, no, then yeah, I'm not into
I'm
that.
good on that.
Because I don't even like movies that like have rape in them. Like the horror movies that I think about is like when they indicate that there was a rape, but they like don't show the rape.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why I like the older horror movies that if there's an indication that there was a rape,
Yeah.
but there's
Yeah, Serbian film will make you feel like you need to
burn your eyes out.
shower.
Yeah, I
Kind
don't.
of like Requiem for a Dream.
No,
Worse.
Dude, I think
you
Serbian
want to
films
live
been
in
like
the shower for like a week and a half.
I think I've heard the Serbian film's like one of the worst movies out there. It's really bad. Yeah.
All right, back to your trivia.
Anyway, so during the skeleton scene when he walks out with the skeleton, a lighted skeleton would appear next to the screen and fly over the audience. But just like things haven't changed much today, some asshole kids.
Started shooting at it with a BB gun.
Yes, they sure did. Yep, they brought BB guns into the theater after they started hearing about it, and they would shoot at the skeletons. So most theaters stopped doing
these
it.
kids into theaters with BB guns.
Dude,
I'm sure
you
they
could hide
put it in their,
BB guns.
You
then.
know,
How big? How are you gonna hide? Like I'm assuming you're talking about like a old like.
they had airsoft guns that were like pistols back then.
Okay. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
It's target practice. I'll be honest. I'd probably be that asshole kid.
Yeah, you probably would
I
have
probably would be that
ruin
kid.
it for everybody.
I'd ruin it for everybody.
So this was one of the first movies that used the whole, so frightening even the ads can't be shown.
Mm-hmm.
So like, but it was, legit. Like, the original advertisements showed a woman hanging from a noose while a grinning skeleton, held up the other end of the rope. And then the other advertisement had Vincent Price holding a decapitated woman's head. And 1959 newspapers, wouldn't print that.
It's funny because after I watched that movie, I realized there's a lot of movies that have scenes from the Vincent Price that I did not notice.
Yeah.
Like, did not realize.
Yeah. So, let's see here. $10,000 today would be roughly $122,950.62.
Why I said that it should just be a $100,000 reward.
Moving on. The exterior of the house is the Ennis Brown House in Los Angeles. It is a Frank Lloyd Wright house built in 1924 and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places.
Did it tell why it was, like, is it because of the movie, or is it just because it's old?
It's probably just because it's old. And it's a Frank Lloyd
Yeah.
Lloyd Wright house. So those are pretty historical houses anyway, and because of the architecture.
Yeah, I guess I didn't think about that.
Yeah. So William Castle actually met and secured Vincent Price for this role on a day that Price had been passed over for another role. And they did 2 pictures together, this one and The Tingler.
I wonder what the
I actually seen
I don't know, I couldn't find that.
I actually seen a thing for The Tingler. I didn't watch it, and I forgot
that again.
The Tingler.
The way you said it the first time was like the Tingler.
The Tingler.
Tingler.
He
the
sounded
thing
like
for
one
The
of those
Tingler.
old-timey, like, newspaper or news guys, like, The Tingler strikes again.
The Tingler strikes again.
Well, yeah, but I seen a thing for it, and I was thinking about watching it, and I think I just kind of didn't want to watch it right then, and I forgot about it.
So even though this movie was one of the highest grossing horror movies of its time, it fell into public domain because the copyright holder failed to renew it. And there are some versions out there that are part of that public domain.
If you get on Tubi, there's about 6 different versions.
Yeah.
Of this
Were they
movie
all
on there.
different versions?
I don't know.
I
I
thought
only
there
watched
were-
one version.
Me
so.
too. It was the one that had Vincent Price on. I thought they were all. I thought
They're
a
all
lot
the
of them were
same.
the
They're
Vincent
all the
Price.
same movie,
Yeah.
but they're just.
But they could have been like
remixed.
some of these are like second or third or
Oh.
fourth gen, and their editing could be bad.
Oh,
There's
okay.
some out there that like you can see the strings of the skeleton before you're supposed to.
Yeah.
Like I mean, they're really really bad.
There was one on there that looked like it was supposed to be a comedy.
Oh really?
Yeah.
I didn't look too much into them.
Yeah.
I just
If you
know
get
there's
it-
like 6 different versions on there. And by the way, if you want to watch either of these movies, they are both on Tubi right now for free. Tubi is free to sign up for, and this is no kind of advertisement or anything stupid like that. Just letting you know, if you do want to check out these movies, you don't feel like buying them or renting them or whatever. I'm just letting you know that they are free on Tubi. The 1959 version and the 1999 version are both on there. There might be a few ads in there, kind of like Hulu or something like that. But if you want to check out the movies, they are free to watch.
You should
on
do
Tubi.
the Tubi things. You just be like there's some podcasters there like not a sponsor yet.
Yeah. Not sponsor yet. Wink, wink. Tubi. Come on, man.
This is the favorite horror movie of Cassandra Peterson, aka Elvira.
Oh yeah.
For the 1999 version, Greg Nicotero, The Walking Dead,
Yep.
was makeup effects
Yep.
for this movie.
Yep.
And then my favorite trivia for this movie,
He's
just
still
because
no Tom Savini.
he's not as good as Tom Savini.
Nobody could ever be as good as Tom Savini.
Yeah. So, but my favorite trivia for this, just because it's like the nostalgia thing, but you know that very mechanical movement that you see the ghosts do in this
Yeah, yeah.
movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you've seen it a lot in the 1999 through 2000s ghosts.
You probably even
Right?
still see it a lot.
You
even
still see it today. You still see it today, although I don't notice it as much, maybe.
Probably. Well,
But when
yeah.
you do see it, it's still done very well.
Yeah.
You can. This movie was the first to do it.
Okay.
So again, you got to give props where props is due, right?
Yep.
This movie is the first one to ever do that, and it's terrifying. It's very well done.
Yeah, it's done pretty good. It makes it. I know what you're talking about, and I don't remember seeing it in this movie because it was a while ago that I watched it. But
Yeah.
I remember seeing it in other movies, and
Yeah.
it really helps with.
Yeah, like when you see a
It does
ghost
give
like
that
doing
sort
that,
of
like you're
aesthetic,
like, oh,
yeah. Like,
fuck
yeah.
you, don't move like that.
Yeah.
In some cases, I remember what was it? The Grudge. The Grudge did it, and so did The Ring.
Did she do that when she came out? Because I haven't seen that in a
She
while.
came out of the TV, and I wouldn't say she so much did that as she kind of flickered along. But like in The Grudge, it was very like they did that a lot in The Grudge, and that was in The Grudge. The creepiest part of that fucking movie were those goddamn ghosts, because let's face it, those movies sucked. I did not like them at all. But
Did you ever watch the originals?
no, I didn't. I didn't watch the original, but
I never watched the originals.
But
either.
the one with Sarah Michelle Gellar in it. The only creepy part was that part where that dude like stuck his head up through the into the attic, and that thing was like, you know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, and then he's like, you see his face, like, that's fucking creepy. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
I think I was
No,
watching.
please.
I think one night after we got off work, when I was with Ashley, we were watching that movie, and the only time I remember jumping was because I was falling asleep, and a cat jumped on the screen and knocked something over, and that's what made me jump. I went,
squeal a little bit.
no, I didn't.
Pig.
Marilyn Manson was considered for the role of Vandekut. I'm personally very glad that they stuck
yeah.
with Jeffrey Combs.
You know, I haven't seen him in many movies, but the movies that I'm sorry, I don't think Marilyn Manson can act.
No, he can't, dude. Not at all. He was in Jawbreaker.
I don't know why they
Yeah.
would put him in any.
Well, he was in Jawbreaker. He was that weird dude in Jawbreaker.
Yeah, he
He
didn't
was
have
also
that
in Sons of Anarchy.
Oh, was he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
he did a couple of episodes. He was a prison inmate.
Yeah.
And, dude, you're right. He can't act. He's not a good actor by any means. He's very one note with his lines and things like that. So he's not a good actor. Apparently he's Not a good person either.
Yeah, really not. Well, I mean, come on. Anyway.
Yeah, we'll just leave that.
I don't want to get
We'll leave that up
sued.
to popular demand.
Yeah,
debate.
So we talked about William Castle, him being the original director for the first one, and the gimmicks that he did. So as an homage to this, Warner Brothers and Dark Castle promoted this film in theaters with scratch-off tickets where you could win prize money, and the cash prize totaled to $1 million. So all of the tickets that went out for the movie totaled to $1 million. And they intended to keep the gimmicks going with their further releases. Basically, every release that they did, they were going to do a gimmick with. And the next one that they did was 13 Ghosts. And it was supposed to have 3D glasses and with special glasses where you could put them on and see the ghosts like they did with the original 13 Ghosts. But eventually that idea was abandoned and they never really gave reasons for it. Speculation is that it just got to be too expensive.
I'm sure, yeah.
I'll say some of those ghosts in 13 Ghosts were pretty creepy.
Oh, the dark Zodiac, yeah.
A couple of them were kind of creepy. I couldn't fully get behind the girl with the big tits, walking around naked the whole time. I couldn't get behind that. Like I was just like one of those. I was like, I mean, as a kid, you know, whenever you first watch, you're like, oh, boobies, you know what I mean? But then you're like, as you get older, you're like, why is this necessary? Like I didn't understand.
Because she died in the bathtub, wasn't it?
I understand that, but couldn't she have like
a towel wrapped around her or something?
Like a ragged towel or something like that? Like cover the nipples at least, maybe even.
Why?
I don't know, just because it's just
so American.
I'm just saying, like I just felt like it's something that
it's
like
just nakedness. Who cares?
I know it's just nakedness, man. I'm naked all the time. I'm not naked right now though. So
I'm
I was gonna say you might want to clarify for people at home.
I'm dressed pretty much most of the day.
I'm just saying I get naked at least once a day. You know?
I don't think that nakedness should matter. I really don't. Okay, so Jeffrey Rush was not supposed to look the way he did. He was not supposed to look like Vincent Price.
No.
He was supposed to look like an ordinary businessman, just, you know, the everyday business guy. But Rush did not like that idea, and he suggested that maybe he should look like John Waters. He brought that to the director, and the director said, you can try it. And after he completed the look, it was obvious who he looked like. And the director finally just relented and said, fine, do whatever you want. So Dark Castle, the name of the production company, did take their name from William Castle. And the first two movies they did, as we talked about, were remakes of his House on Haunted Hill and 13 Ghosts.
I did not know that.
Okay.
I did not. I'm just.
That's why I tell these things.
That's why we have trivia time.
Yeah. So the only character in these movies to keep the original name was Pritchard. He kept his name in both movies. Chris Kattan improvised most of his scenes, including the now we're out of scotch, you asked, parts, and that was encouraged by the director. The unethical psychiatry methods and practices that Vannegut used were based on experiments that the Nazis did. A lot of these can be found in cutscenes that are on the DVD or the Blu-ray or whatever you have. The original guest list that Price's computer shows have various crew members and cast members from Tales from the Crypt. Director William Malone used names and characters from the 2 episodes that he directed, Report from the Grave in 1996 and Only Skin Deep in 1994. Elizabeth Hurley was considered for the role of Evelyn. Famke Janssen was perfect.
Who's
Elizabeth Hurley is bedazzled.
Bedazzled.
Real
pretty brown hair.
Yeah.
I could see it, but
she's
too nice.
She was a popular actress at the time.
Yeah, I could see it,
nice.
but yeah, like you said, she's too nice.
Yeah, she's too nice. The roller coaster at the beginning of the movie is the Incredible Hulk at Universal Islands in Florida. And William Malone's idea was actually one to change it from a house into an asylum. And he got the idea when he directed one of the episodes from Tales from the Crypt. They were shooting in an old asylum, and nobody wanted to film in the basement.
Well, you know, that makes sense because if you actually watch, there are a lot of old asylums are like the big thing in movies a lot.
Oh, the
of the
creepy
time.
as shit.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
always the big. Like, if you want to do a movie, a lot of them take places in asylums, and it's because at the time, yeah, shock therapy and all that stuff was horrible.
Oh yeah. So Famke Jensen also did her own stunt at the beginning when the stained glass came crashing down. And then the first person killed in the movie was stabbed with the pencils.
Yeah.
That was a screenplay writer named Dick Beebe.
Dick Beebe.
Dick Beebe. Old
Dick
Dick
Beebe.
Beebe.
Old Dick Beebe.
And then the evil that we're all so fond of, that was created by taking film of naked women dancing, mirroring the image, and then repeating it over and over at different sizes and shapes until you get that image that you see in the movie.
That sort of Rorschach image.
Yeah. And finally, like we've talked about, well, like you just said, the design of the evil was inspired by H.P. Lovecraft's monsters and his novels, and Rorschach ink blots that were used in psychiatry.
Yeah.
And that is the end of all the trivia.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, that concludes House on Haunted Hill 1959, House on Haunted Hill 1999 for the second time. Unfortunately for you, you don't get to hear the first time.
Which was probably better.
Oh,
I
way
think,
better.
I think it
we
was
had
better.
so much more fun with it.
Yeah.
Man. We
We're kind of shitty about this time.
yeah. We're well at this. Yeah, I think at this time it was just kind of like one of those things where we're like, fuck, we gotta do this again.
Also, it's kind of also sucky because none of us rewatched the movies again.
Well, of course not.
Yeah,
but like
why
at the
would
same
we?
time,
Well, we took notes.
we took notes, Matt.
I'm sorry. I'm not the note taker.
That's all right, buddy. You don't have to take notes.
We'll take notes for
We'll
you.
take notes for you.
You know, you guys were actually saying that, and there was actually a class that, Karen, I don't know if you remember that, I got detention one time for not taking notes.
I think I do remember that. I think I do remember
I
that.
can definitely see that out of you. I can see the teacher being like, Matt, why aren't you taking notes? You're like, because I don't want to.
Well, no, the teacher told us that you don't have to take notes. And I was like, okay, well, I'm not going to have to take notes. And then he got mad because I'm not taking notes. You told me I don't have to.
Why are you going back on what you said? Who's the smart one here, me or you? At least I'm paying attention. Because apparently you're not. That's funny.
That was the year, at the end of the year, that was the year that you started calling me Ducky.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so next week we will be watching Matt's pick. Matt, what are you picking?
Doomsday.
Doomsday from now 2008, right?
Was it
2008?
2008.
Was it 2008?
Doomsday 2008. I'm not gonna tell you. Bob Hoskins is in it.
Bob Hoskins, that's like the one that's really popular. Other than that, it was like a
The chick looked familiar.
The chick
girl-
was from Underworld.
Rise of the Lycans.
Rise of the Lycans. Yeah.
She played the daughter.
She was also the wife, the dead wife of John Wick in the first John Wick movie. She's only in a few
That's probably where I
flashbacks.
know her
She's
from.
done a few movies. I just can't remember what all she was in. But yeah, we're going to check that movie out. That is Matt's pick for next week. And then it'll be my turn to pick, and I haven't decided on what I'm going to do yet. So, just a brief rundown of what we're going to be doing here for anybody who cares to listen or whatever. So, for the entire month of October, which is still over a month away, we will watch a horror movie every week. I think that the way we're going to do it is we will do one monster movie, one horror, one family monster, or one family Halloween movie, and then we will do. So we'll just kind of stick to a theme for every week, essentially. So, because I know I want to do a family Halloween movie, monster movie. Maybe we could do a remake.
Like a family? What do you mean?
Well, you mean
Like family friendly.
like
or something.
Hocus Pocus is a family
okay.
Halloween movie.
Okay, I didn't know if you meant that or like a movie that like the whole family's in. Like,
No,
it's a family
Right.
gets killed or whatever. I don't know.
Ooh, I got one I bet you nobody's seen.
So I've pretty much got a couple of I know a couple of them that would be great picks, and I mean we don't have to stick to monster movies I guess, but I do know that I want to do at least one family Halloween movie for the month of Halloween, or for the month of October. And then I'm not sure exactly if there's anything we can really do for the month of November. There's not a lot of Thanksgiving movies.
We could all watch Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's what I was getting. Or what's that tire movie?
It's
Rubber?
Tire.
No, yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
is it Rubber?
Rubber. Yeah,
Rubber?
Rubber.
Yeah.
Didn't that have like a Thanksgiving scene in it or something?
I don't know, but Thanksgiving, I remember.
Yeah, it was great.
I was like, how could
I love when the turkey goes to drive the car, and then the car is driving away, and it's clearly a man driving. Even though the turkey's the one that drove off.
I think
in
it's
the car.
funny that he kills the dad and then puts on the face, and everybody's like, "Oh, it's Dad."
Never seen Thanksgiving.
I don't think I have.
Oh, it's the best.
I don't think I have, but it sounds pretty fucking awesome.
It's the best.
Well, you guys are describing it, I'm like, wait, so the turkey puts on the face? You all think he's the guy? Like,
Yeah, the guy. There's also a part where the guy. This is where I turned it off. I think no, the guy with the turkey wearing the mask. But then there was also a guy who pulls over to pick up the turkey. And he says, "Ass, gas, or grass."
ass, gas, and grass.
And I think at that part, if I remember correctly, the turkey pulls a shotgun from nowhere.
That's the part I was talking about. He steals the car. The turkey steals the car, and he gets in the car and starts driving. And the camera shot is of the turkey driving away, but it's very clearly a man driving.
It's like I only got like 5 minutes and was like, "This, okay, this is too bad."
It's the best.
But bad movies that know they're bad are sometimes the best.
That's what I'm saying. It is the
They
best.
understand what they're doing.
And I think that they made it on purpose to be
Right.
bad.
And 100%. There's no way they did that by accident.
So I think like I said, for the month of October we'll do all horror movies, or at least Halloween-based movies of some kind for the month of October. I'm not sure we're gonna do yet for the month of November. Maybe we'll
Dutch.
do.
That's another Thanksgiving movie.
Yeah, Dutch is a Thanksgiving movie, isn't it? Yeah.
Are we kind of
Planes, Trains, and Automobiles.
Oh yeah. And then for obviously for December, for the whole month we will do Christmas movies for the whole month of December, because there are some awesome fucking Christmas movies out there. But just a slight rundown of what we're probably going to be doing here for the next few months.
make it clear that it's not always going to be horror movies?
No. It definitely will not always be horror movies. Like next week will be Doomsday, which
We'd burn ourselves out.
technically I don't think is a horror movie. I think it's more of an action post-apocalyptic movie.
Yeah.
And then my pick won't be a horror movie.
It won't.
No.
That's weird.
No. You know me, I'm a horror movie nut.
Yeah.
So, but I will probably choose something that is not a horror movie. I mean, there's so many movies to love. How can you just stick to one genre?
Like I said, most of mine are probably going to be action. I'm a big action guy.
Right, and that's fine. You know, I love action movies. I love. I'm not a big drama guy. Some are okay. I'm not a romance movie guy.
I can promise you none of mine will be rom-coms.
That's good.
I'm pretty sure.
But you get
mine
in
won't
comedies, action movies, horror movies, stuff like that. I'm all about it. So, and I've seen all the ones that are worth watching, I guess you could say.
We should do a
Most of
month.
them anyway.
We should do a month though. Sometimes it's just like B movies. Just B movies the whole month.
I feel like there's gonna be enough B movies though sprinkled throughout this.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
you guys are wanting
I
to do,
got some movies.
you guys are
for
wanting to
you
do
guys.
Thanksgiving, like that's a B movie.
Yeah.
Like through. Like I even thought about doing fuck, what was the name of that movie?
Trolls 2?
No, oh my god, that fucking movie is
That
terrible.
fucking movie.
I got
Oh my
the Puppet
God.
Master movies.
They're eating him. Then they're gonna eat me.
Oh
my
my god.
I need to see this movie.
Oh, you've
You never
don't
seen
think I've
Troll
seen-
2?
if I
They're
have,
not
it
even
was so
trolls
long, yeah.
either. They're
Yeah,
fucking
goblins.
Goblins, yeah. And then there's fuck. What's the name of the movie? Garbage Day.
Black Christmas?
No, it's not Black Christmas. It's
Oh, fuck. Hold on.
was it the night?
It's a Christmas one,
It
ain't
is
it,
a
though?
It is a Christmas movie
Fuck.
because he
Garbage Day.
Garbage Day. It's like one of the best lines
Yeah,
ever.
it is. Fuck.
Because the way he delivers it is amazing.
Silent Night, Deadly
Silent
Night.
Night,
Fuck.
Deadly Night. I
Part
think
two.
it's the second
It's
one.
part
yeah.
two.
Second one. So just movies like that, you're gonna see a lot of different movies coming out of us because there's a lot of movies to appreciate, even the bad ones. Because honestly, sometimes talking about the bad ones is the best time because you're just like, what the fuck did I just watch? So just a little bit of what to expect, and we're gonna try to do this weekly. Well, we will do this weekly as best as we can. So I'm always free. Matt's always free. Karen's the busy one. So we'll see what happens.
So far, I've been good.
Yeah. She's been here the past 2 Wednesdays, and we've only got one podcast out, but that was my fuck up. I blame Pile, which is the brand of audio mixer that I have, and the reason why they call it is because it's a pile of shit. So, anyway, on that note, you guys have a great day and a great week, and
A good night if you're listening to this at night.
Yeah, good night, good day, good morning, good day at work if that's what you're doing. So I know people listen to podcasts at work. And hopefully our soothing voices get you through the day a little bit better. And on that note, have a good day, wonderful week, and we'll see you next week.
Peace
See ya.
out. I said it clear that time.